Who should fight who? That is the question I'm going to be attempting to answer today. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be basically giving my thoughts on who should fight who in the top 5 of each division, excluding heavyweight, but I'll explain why I'm excluding that later. Let's just get right into it with, hold on now, hold on. I know you see the words women's bantamweight, but let me explain. Right now, the champion is Kayla Harrison, and she's supposed to fight Amanda Nunes somewhat later, whatever, later this year. I think they should not fight each other. I think Kayla Harrison should just vacate the belt. And I think the rematch for the belt should be, get ready now, Jon Jones versus his wife, the rematch. Now, the first time it went to Jon Jones, but it wasn't really like, yeah, this guy would definitely beat her 10 times out of 10. I feel like there's some room that you could give his wife. You know, there's maybe a 1 in 10 chance. But that's still a chance, you know? It's not 100% that Jon Jones would dominate her. Left her, the only mark that he gave her was a bruised lip, I'm pretty sure. That's not that good. He's got to do more. I'm just kidding. Hold on now before I continue. I'm not actually going to continue. I don't condone domestic violence and abuse. Jon Jones is a piece of shit. Don't put me in jail. Don't report my video. I'm sorry. Let's just get on to the actual stuff. Flyweight division. A lot of these champ fights are already settled. And, like, not settled, but in the matchmaking, already announced and shit. Of course, we got Van versus Tyra, UFC 328. I'm not going to be giving my predictions on to who I think is going to win, but I do think the winner of this should fight Pantoja. Pantoja, what did he have? Like 3 or 4 title defenses? I think he had 3. And, I mean, dude, he's dominant. Yeah, Pantoja lost to Van via TKO, but really, was it a TKO? Really? I mean, really? I don't really think so. But they got to run that back. I don't really know why they didn't run that back immediately, I guess, because Pantoja had to heal. But still, since it's happening at 318, like, I'm pretty sure he's completely healed. But whatever. Tyra versus Van, that's a banger. Pantoja versus the winner of Van, that's also a banger. For the next matchup, I mean, Manel Cap versus Horiguchi, that's already in place. That's happening in, I think it was July or June. I think it was June. But I also think Royval versus Loner Kavanaugh should fight. There was talks about them fighting. Kavanaugh accepted an offer, and Royval didn't say anything. I mean, who is Brandon Royval going to fight? Asu Amabayev? Who is Kavanaugh going to fight? I think this is a banger of a matchup. Kavanaugh just came off of a really surprising upset victory over Brandon Moreno. Royval just got brutally KO'd against Manel Cap. You know? So I think I think that would just be a banger of a fight. Make it a featured fight on a pay-per-view, number card, whatever you want to say. Or you could even do a co-main event on a big UFC fight night, you know? But yeah. Then we get on to bantamweight. It's pretty obvious. Jan versus Merab 3. They're 1-1, neck and neck, tied. That's Jan coming off of a crazy, dominant performance over Merab. That was one of the best performances of any UFC fighter I've ever seen, let alone in a title fight. Crazy. The winner of that fight should be Umar. I think Umar has made himself worthy of another title shot. I mean, you can kind of question it now that I'm thinking about it. His win over Mario Bautista, that is good, and that is going to continue to age good. The win over Figgy, but like the Merab versus Jan, that was competitive. I guess if Merab wins, I like who gets the title shot. But if Jan wins, it's 100% should go to Umar. So I think Jan wins. Early prediction. But yeah, then I think I mean, we don't think. We know O'Malley's gonna fight Zahabi. If I swear to God, dude, I swear, man, if they give O'Malley the title shot after Zahabi, dude, O'Malley was on was 0 for 2 in title shots. Or I shouldn't say title shots. His title reign was short lived. That was overrated. Only title defense was against Cheeto Vera, who's on a, what, 4-5 fight losing streak. Embarrassing. And then lost against Marab, and then got a undeserved title shot again and lost to him via submission. A finish from Marab. Shout out Marab. So that was pretty, I wouldn't say embarrassing, but it sucks that he got another title shot. I'd say he barely won against Song Yadong. He did. He didn't look that good. And then the Zahabi matchup, that's kind of like a layup. He's going to fucking brutally knock him out on the White House lawn. So yeah. Then I think Corey Sandhagen should face either Peyton Talbot or Mario Bautista in the rematch. They fought before. I think it was an arm triangle submission from Corey. And that's, him beating Mario. That's been a really good win. But I also think Talbot versus Corey, that'd be a fucking banger of a fight, dude. That'd be a banger. Because it's not like O'Malley versus Corey, where Corey would just easily take him down. Talbot has shown that he has gotten better, way better with his grappling, especially his takedown defense. So that would be a banger of a matchup. I wouldn't really care who would get it. Then we got Song Yadong versus Figgy. That's in UFC Macau. Yadong is just going to steamroll Figgy. I actually think it's going to be a KO for Yadong. Song Yadong. Not your dong. Yadong. Not your dong. Song Yadong. Okay? Then we get on to featherweight. Pretty obvious. Volk versus Mobzar. The talk of Volk versus John Silva, that's embarrassing, dude. I would hate that. Volk just got done having to rematch Diego Lopez in a completely undeserved title shot. That was disgusting. Mobzar just won against Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy... Oh, wait, no, sorry. I'll get to that in a second. Lopez is supposed to fight Garcia at UFC White House. That's going to be a banger of a fight. Lerone Murphy should fight John Silva. I think that's featherweight division. It's one of the most obvious ways to go. Middleweight and light heavyweight, that shit's... Light heavyweight's the hardest to match up right now. Middleweight's the second hardest to match up. I honestly think featherweight's either the second or the third easiest to match up. But Murphy versus Silva, I'd say that was probably going to be a main event in a fight night. Or maybe even a co-main. A co-main, that would be a good co-main in my opinion. Then we got Yair Rodriguez. Where the fuck has he been? Versus Kevin Vallejos. That's a fire matchup, dude. That deserves to be on a pay-per-view. That's a fire fight. I just don't... Where the fuck has Yair been, honestly? Jesus. And then Aljo versus Zalal. That's already booked. That's happening not next week, but next week. Also, I should say, I'm making this video before 327. That's going to make sense in future when talking about the light heavyweight division. Should have said that in the beginning. Then, lightweight, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje at the White House. Listen, man, I'm going to make my thumbnail this too, so this is like a preview. This fight is not going to be a Rocky story. Justin Gaethje is not going to go out there and survive getting dropped by Ilia, survive an onslaught, and then come back later in the fight and knock Ilia out. That's not going to happen. It's not a fairy tale. Okay? It's not a Rocky movie. So I think, I don't even have to think, Ilia should face Arman next. I think Arman, yeah, he fucked over the UFC by pulling out, I think, a day or 2 days before facing Islam. He says to a back injury, but he missed weight. And then had a win over Dan Hooker, which is not the best, but he's been really active, doing all kinds of other combat sports, wrestling, BJJ, shit like that. He deserves the title shot. Then, I think Oliveira should face BSD. I see talk of Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan too. I guess, but who's Benoit going to face? I think Oliveira versus BSD, yeah, I think that's an easy win for Oliveira. But who knows, man? Benoit is a marauder. And then Holloway versus Pimblett. This would be a firefight. Yeah, Pimblett would try to take down Holloway. But, dude, Paddy Pimblett is not on the same level as Charles Oliveira. He's not. Not even close. That's, let alone, that's a banger of a fight. I think so. Have that be a co-main. That's a fire co-main, to be honest, too. But yeah, that's lightweight. Then we get on to, in my opinion, the easiest division to match up. Maybe a little controversial. Islam versus Ian Gary. Ian Gary fucking deserves the title shot. He does. He really does. Okay? Yeah, he lost to Shavkat. Shavkat's not even in the UFC anymore, dude. And that was more of a win for Ian Gary than Shavkat, you know? If that makes sense. If you guys catch my drift. But I think Michael Morales. Oh shit, sorry. JDM versus Pratis. That's already been matched. That's at UFC Perth. Banger of a main event. I think Morales should face Usman. Usman coming off that win against Buckley. Good win. Morales coming off the win against Sean Brady. I think this is exactly how they should do it. I think so. And then Bilal versus Bonfim is matched up. Oh, and yeah, I think that's how they should do it. Buckley versus Sean Brady is happening. All right, actually, no. Don't give Islam versus Gary. Dude, just do Islam versus D-Rod, dude. Just got out of prison. He deserved the title shot. Just kidding. Cut D-Rod. Let's get on to middleweight. This, like I said, is the second hardest division to match up. It really is, in my opinion. Of course, Chimaev versus Strickland at UFC 328. That's a banger. Honestly, probably, this is my prediction for this. The most viewed press conference in UFC history. That is going to be a crazy press conference. That's going to need security times 100. I can't wait to watch that shit. The press conference for 327 that just happened 2 hours ago, that was a banger. And I think Imavov should win. I mean, not win. Should face off against Chimaev, or the winner of Chimaev versus Strickland. Imavov deserves it. You know, haven't faced Chimaev before. Strickland faced Imavov on a 9-day short notice and beat him. So, and they're both been, there's some animosity between both of these guys, Chimaev Imavov and Strickland Imavov. So that'd be entertaining. DDP should face off against Kyle Bravado. Kyle coming off the win against RDR. DDP coming off of that piss poor performance against Chimaev. And then we got one of the weirdest matchups. Brendan Allen versus Shabazian. What are we doing, UFC? Allen steps up on short notice to face off against a really really respected RDR and just demolishes him. What are we doing? That was one of the not one of the best performances, but like that was so fucking surprising. It really was. RDR says, "Oh, I had, complications, shit like that." But then he goes to lose against Kyle Brado, and he looked shit with the gas tank in that too. So, was it complications, or was it just Brendan Allen just beat his ass, So that's the top 5. I just want to throw this in here. Joe Pyfer, ranked number 6 right now. Dude, can you imagine the fight against Joe Pyfer and Gregory Rodriguez? That is a fire fucking matchup. That is, honestly, besides maybe Chimaev versus Strickland, that would be my most anticipated middleweight matchup right now. That shit would be fire. Okay? Fire. But now let's get on to the last division I'm going to talk about, and then probably the hardest to match up. Light heavyweight. Like I said, 327 is happening this Saturday. Yuri Prohaska versus Olberg. And then besides that, what the fuck do you do with this division? I think the best option is Ankalaev versus the winner of Azamat versus Costa. Now, that's a bit crazy, especially if Costa wins, And then Khalil versus Volkan Ozdemir. Khalil on a 1-fight losing streak. Volkan Ozdemir on a, I think, 2-fight winning streak. That's just complicated. And then, of course, Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov 2, the rematch everyone's been excited for. What the fuck do you do, dude? Ank doesn't deserve another title shot. It's not like he went on a 4-fight title defense run. No, he got dominated. Not even dominated. He got destroyed by Alex Pereira in the rematch. And then Azamat, I guess you could say give him the title shot to whoever wins this at 327, but still a title shot over against a unranked Paulo Costa and Brennison Ribeiro and who's the last guy? Alexander Rakic? I don't really think so, man. Ank versus the winner of that. Khalil versus Vulcan. I honestly think that'd be a fire matchup. Vulcan always mirror. He's got that power. Khalil, he just needs to be tested. Hopefully, he's been working on that cardio. He was looking really good against Yuri Prohaska, and then he kind of crumbles in a dogfight. So and I also think Vulcan has good pressure. So that could really test if Khalil has been working on his pressure. So that's how I'm gonna match up light heavyweight. And yeah, that's all I got for today. I'm not doing heavyweight because literally all of top 5 is already matched up. We got Tom Aspinall going to face off against the winner of Pereira versus Gon, Volkov versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. One of the weirdest matches matched up: Sergey Pavlovich versus Talsherian Terra, whatever his fucking or Ty Teixeira, whatever his fuck, the Brazilian who got knocked out against Derek Lewis. That's such a fucking weird matchup. It really is. And then not Sergey Spivak, Chris Curtis. No, not even Chris Curtis. Curtis Blades, Jesus, versus Josh Hokic this upcoming weekend. So that's already been matched up. Just wanted to make a quick video. I didn't make a video besides my predictions for 327. So quick little video for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you in the next one. See ya.